Hi, welcome to Infodumpies. My name's Brianne. I'm autistic, I have ADHD, my pronouns are she, her, and Skimbleshanks the railway cat is a motherfucker who owes me $500, and if you see him, tell him I haven't forgotten, and I will get my $500. I haven't forgotten what he did.
Hi, I'm Violet. My pronouns are she, her. I have ADHD, and if I was a kitty cat, I would probably be named Sunshine, and I'd be a little orange tabby cat with a big old round tummy.
Respectfully, you do have orange cat energy.
Oh yeah, I get it from Garfield.
Yeah, you got some real orange. You know that's a thing, like orange cat behavior.
Oh really? I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, they're supposed to be just like little weirdo freaks.
Huh? Yeah, I mean that checks out. I'm a little.
Complimentary.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Is Skimbleshanks an orange cat?
Skimbleshanks is from Cats, the musical. So it's a human in a costume I hate in a musical that I've only seen under duress.
You've seen Cats?
Kyle was in a production of Cats, and it was my job as his friend to go see him as Skimbleshanks the railway cat. So I did it out of love for a dear friend who absolutely killed it bouncing around out there in his dance belt and kitty cat whiskers. I just don't care for Andrew Lloyd Webber's work. Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Well, you know what? Today, we're not talking about Andrew Lloyd Webber's cats. No, we're talking about Jake Perry's cats.
And that's a rock opera.
That's a rock opera about cats. It's kind of like a country rock opera, techno hip hop hybrid synth jam, drum and bass wave core.
The bar is at rock bottom.
Yeah.
I'm going to get messages about, I love the musical Cats. I don't want them. I don't care. I hate it.
I find the musical Cats to be quite unsettling.
But Jake Perry's cats, no, that's a cat of a different toe bean.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jake Perry was a plumber. And I say was, I should kind of codify all this. I don't know if Jake Perry is still alive. I was not able to find concrete information on whether or not he is still alive.
Wild. I just went to go look to see if my 8th grade English teacher was still alive or not, and I got confirmation of that.
You'd think...
Hi, Miss Juvenile. I wish you well.
This is someone you'd think if he was still alive, people would still be talking about him and checking in on him. And
I think they would, but not my 8th grade English teacher.
Yeah, so it's kind of odd. I think in the latter parts of his life, he got kind of private, but we'll see. The general consensus, though, is that given his age, unless he is, much like his cats, living longer than normal, he may be up with his kitties right now. But not to start on too bummer of a note, Jake Perry loved cats. The average lifespan of a domestic cat, which, by the way, when I say domestic cat, that just means a cat that's designed to live in a house. It's domesticated. There's lots of cats out there that you probably don't want in your house, like meerkat.
Well, that's not like a cat.
I mean, it's a cat.
That's not a feline.
No, you're probably right. I just tried to think of a word with cat, and no, probably not.
Bobcat?
Bobcat. You don't want a bobcat in your house? No way, no how.
Bobcat Goldthwait, though.
Bobcat Goldthwait's fine, but just Bobcat?
No. Unsafe.
Not
fun for the bobcat, mostly.
Yeah, not domesticated. They don't know how to live in house. They don't know how to poop in box. So the average lifespan of a domestic cat generally ranges from 13 to 20 years. That is not a hard and fast rule. That's just kind of what we're going on right now, because that number range shifts a lot. If you weren't too surprised, as we learn more about how cats live and age, and that number changes, and it rarely goes down, but oftentimes it goes up. Their maximum lifespan, that would be a max of like 30 years. If you're extremely lucky and you love your cat very much and you take very good care of your cat, they might live to be 30 years old. There have been claims of cats living longer than 30 years. Some much more so. So Jake Perry and his cats, he loved his cats very much. He broke the Guinness World Record for owning the world's oldest cat, but he didn't just do it once, he did it twice.
Show off?
I know, when you do something once really good, that's one thing. You might have just gotten extremely lucky. You might have just gotten a really cool cat that just happened to live really long.
Twice.
Do it twice? holy schmoly,
That's something.
You're doing something there. And
that's something.
Yeah, that is what brought Jake Perry into the limelight for a little while. The first record that he broke was in 1998. It was for a part Sphinx, part Devon Rex cat. Devon Rex being a breed of cat, which it sounds like a breed of dinosaur.
I don't know cat flavors because I'm allergic to cats. That's what I'll tell everyone. If I seem like I don't know like what living with cats is like, it's because I'm allergic to them.
Yeah.
I think they're precious. If I wasn't allergic, we'd very likely have one. But
the first record from 1998 was for a part Sphinx, part Devon Rex cat named Granpa Rexs Allen. I'm sorry. I said that wrong. Granpa Rexs Allen. So
Grandpa.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's no D. It's GranpaRexsAllen.
I love it. It's a nonsense name and I adore it.
Yeah, so there's a small interview that was done with Jake Perry and like a little mini documentary that was done about him and his life and his relationship with cats, where he lists off a few of the names of his cats.
I'm so excited for that.
It's a pretty short list. And here's the thing. I tried to find a comprehensive list of all of Jake Perry's cats, but I tell you, the man has raised over 500 cats.
Whoa.
Yes. And
he is the cat master.
To my knowledge, he either rescued or found all of them.
The cat distribution system really said, this guy knows what he's doing. Let's give him as many cats as he can handle.
You know, there's actually a quote from Jake Perry himself, much to that effect, and it relates to the allergy thing you mentioned earlier, but we'll get to that. So, Granpa Rexs Allen lived to the age of 34.
That's me. That's my age now.
Yeah. If you were a cat, you would be one of the oldest cats to ever live.
If I were a cat, I would be dead. But
wow.
Yeah, Grandpa Rexs Allen.
He's just
amazing.
He's built different.
He's built different.
There was a part of that documentary, by the way, he talked about finding Granpa Rexs Allen. Apparently, a friend of his was driving down the road in kind of the middle of nowhere, came up to a stoplight, nobody else around, and there's a cat sitting at the crossing of the stoplight, sitting at a red light, as if he was a little car just waiting for the light to turn green.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And the guy says, "What's that cat doing there?" He gets out of his car and he goes, checks on the cat, and the cat's just like, "Hi, I'm a cat. I'm friendly." This friend of Jake's is like, "Well, I know who's going to take real good care of this cat. Jake Perry."
Yep. And
he was fucking right, because that cat lived to be 34 years old. Obviously, down to the day, we don't have the specifics of that, because obviously he was found already,
he has no proof of this cat's birthday.
Exactly. But he was
They can make an educated guess, though.
From what I understand, he was already a little bit kind of on the middle-aged side of things when he was found, but I wasn't able to find a specific story for that. But based on the age that was given to him by the vet, like say he is roughly this year's old, even if he was, let's say, 2 years younger than that estimate by the doctor, he would still have gotten a world record for being 32 at that point. So,
wow.
Yeah, very, very old cat.
There's something very mystical about finding this cat at a stoplight, waiting for you like a little car, and then that cat breaks the record for being the oldest. Like, I don't get ooh very often, but something about that feels very like, whoa, he was meant to have that cat.
I'm not a religious person. Jake Perry was a religious person. He firmly believed that his purpose in life was to rescue and take care of cats and love cats for people that could not, and for the cats themselves, and to give them a good life.
I think it's beautiful that he got to live his life's purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. The second time he won the world record for world oldest cat, it was in 2005 for a mixed tabby named Creampuff. Creampuff lived to the age of 38 and 3 days.
Are you kidding me?
Nope, not kidding. Would I joke about this?
I know. That was more just like for emphasis, really, because that's an old fucking cat.
Yeah. 38 years old and 3 days. That cat is 6 years older than I am now.
That cat was just a hop and a skip from their 40s.
Yeah. Now, we've, to my knowledge,
that cat was old enough to be president.
That cat, yeah,
by several years.
Shoot, they could have probably bought a gun and been like, "Well, I mean, you're 38."
Well, I mean, in Texas, I'm sure that a kitten could go buy a gun at a gun show.
I should clarify.
Anything.
This guy, Jake Perry, lived in Austin, Texas his entire life.
Okay, so a guy who raises 500 cats very much has old school Austin energy.
Yeah.
Austin used to be like a weird hippie town when we were youngins, and now it's mostly tech bros have bought things in Airbnbs. But the Austin I would go to as a kid, yeah, some guy who raised 500 cats absolutely fits the bill.
Yeah, absolutely. And when he was first interviewed and like it started kind of popping off about him and articles started getting written, he was 85 at the time, and that was in 2015. So he would be, if he was alive, which I'm not certain he is, he would be 95 years old.
He might be. Who knows?
He might be. I mean, he knows the secret to longevity in cats. What's to say it's so different for humans?
Yeah.
Jake Perry was a plumber. Oftentimes the way that he would get cats or find cats, from what I've heard, was...
This makes sense to me. I see where you're going.
Was, from what I understand, he would often like go to people's houses for plumbing stuff, and they would maybe have like some extra kittens or something like that, or there would be a stray cat around. Yeah,
so I imagine if he's accessing plumbing a lot, he's going in a bunch of nooks and crannies under houses and stuff that cats would easily say, a safe place.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't the only way that Jake Perry got cats. Oftentimes he was a plumber pretty much his whole life. That was his career for the entirety of his life. I know a lot of the articles that I saw were actually people who were in Austin who were clients of his, who just, they called a plumber and it happened to be him, and they started talking about cats, and that's how the whole article came to be. Because of course, if you're Jake Perry, you're going to talk about cats to pretty much everyone, and I don't want to diagnose anybody.
I don't want to diagnose anyone, but he's my grandpa now, and I'll let him talk about cats.
Yeah. Bill Malone is a home remodeling contractor who's worked with Perry, at the time of the 2015 article, worked with Perry for the past 5 years, so since 2010. And he said, he's the nicest of guys. All he does is talk about his cats, or the plumbing. There's no in between.
I adore him.
Yeah.
I love this old man already. Don't tell me anything about his politics.
At 85, at the time of the interview, he was starting to settle down and think about retiring and stuff like that. As of that article in 2015, he had survived a battle with pancreatic cancer, and that took a lot of his time away from further articles and things like that. And so he's thinking about settling down at this point. There's a portion in the start of the interview, the little documentary, where he kind of just goes through talking about himself and his cats and just a brief little intro. And I kind of just want to read back that quote, go through the list of cats that it kind of ends up with him. Basically cats start jumping in his lap, and he just says, oh yeah, this is so-and-so. And then it cuts to another cat jumping into his lap, and this is this person. So it starts with him saying, I've been in Austin all going on, and this is incredibly Southern, by the way. I've been in Austin all going on 40 years now, and I've been in plumbing all my life. My name is Jake Perry, and I love cats. Like, this is my life with these rascals here. I was raised up on the farm with cats, and a lot of people can't have cats because of allergies, and they have to have a dog or a horse or a bird, which I guess that's the reason God made all these quitters for yours truly.
Oh, I love him.
He's so sweet. And then
there is a certain flavor of old Texan man that A, I adore, and B, tends to like my vibe. That little man, I would want to hear about his cats.
At this point, he talks a little bit more, and at one point it jumps to him just listing off more of his cats and talking about, some of the ways that he acquired cats over his life. So I'm just going to go through the list. Stephanie, Charlotte, Mittens, Mongol, Hopsing, Red Dog, Buffy the Vampire. And the last one that he names at this point is Suzanne Rosanna.
I love that there's no rhyme or reason to these naming convention. There's no naming convention he sticks to. I adore it.
Stephanie, Charlotte, okay. Mittens, classic cat name.
Yeah.
Mongol?
Yeah. Getting kind of sketchy. Yeah. I can tell you're an 85-year-old man from Texas.
Yeah. Hopsing, Hopsing.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I need to Google that to make sure it's not something.
And then, yeah, that's true. a cat named Red Dog. That's real good. Buffy the Vampire. End sentence.
End sentence. Done.
Yeah. And then Suzanne Rosanna, which is just so good. And at this point in the interview, he mentions that he's adopted over 500 cats from his local shelter. He tells a story about how one day he was hanging around the shelter, as he often does, because he liked to rescue cats from the shelter. And oftentimes he would see cats getting taken to, if they didn't have room at the shelter anymore, he would see cats being taken away to go, be put to sleep. At one point, he started doing this thing where he would wait until that would happen, in this instance at least, I believe he's talking about Suzanne Rosanna here. He saw them taking the cats and loading them to this truck. It was 12 cats. He climbed over the fence to the shelter, jumped down into the parking lot, walked over and said, "I'll take all 12 of those cats home, please, right now. Give me all the cats."
I love it.
And they gave him all the cats because obviously they want the cats to have a good home. And
yeah. And if
absolutely.
you lived in the area, you probably knew this guy. So I looked up Hop Sing. Is a character from the TV show Bonanza.
Oh, that checks out. He's an old Southern man. My grandma used to watch the shit out of Bonanza. That was all she watched half the time. For those who don't know, Bonanza is an old Western TV show that went on for a very long time. If you imagine the sort of old Western that old people would love to watch, this is it.
Did you know that as a baby, I would wake my mom up at the exact same time at 2 a.m. every day, hungry? And while she fed me, I would watch an episode of Gunsmoke that was on and go back to sleep.
Gunsmoke, that's the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. So as a baby, I was like, whoop, time for Gunsmoke. Give me my bottle. I'm back to sleep.
Yeehaw.
That's Texan for you.
Absolutely. So speaking of hitting the bottle, what is it that Jake Perry did that helped his cats live so long? There's a lot of controversy around the things that he recommends, but we can start off with their daily diet. These were things that he prepared for them every single day. And like a lot of the things that I tell you about Jake Perry and his cats, it starts out totally normal and then gets a little bit weirder as we go along. I think that's just how he likes to describe things.
I think it's going to have the energy of those people who lives 115 and the news is like, what did you do? Why do you think you've lived this long? And it's always some old woman being like, cigarettes, Dr. Pepper, and raw dogging. I think that's going to be kind of similar to what he says keeps his cats alive.
Well, a little column A, a little column B. The daily diet. On top of some dry commercial cat food, a home-cooked breakfast of eggs, turkey bacon, broccoli, coffee with cream.
Oh my God.
And every 2 days, about one eyedropper full of red wine to, quote, circulate the arteries.
Can you imagine a caffeinated cat?
I imagine they'd probably feel pretty good. Now, this isn't, we're not talking about a full cup of coffee here. This is a cat-sized cup of coffee.
But even a thimble of coffee for those little cats.
I should
something I find interesting, though, is I learned from my friend Nicole, who is a cat mom. Hi, Nicole. That cats, though they are domesticated, one of the main reasons that they die when they do of older age is because cats get most of their hydration from live prey, like big cats do. So they're not really prone to going to go drink water because they usually get their moisture from the things they're eating. And I do think it's interesting that some of the things he's giving them have that kind of water content, like broccoli and stuff, that might have been helping them all along and helping their kidney health.
Yeah, and also, well, you know what? This is a perfect segue into the veterinary clinic that Bruce Perry went to for all of his cats. South Congress Veterinary Clinic, the owner of which is veterinarian Bruce Hardesty. They know Jake Perry there. They knew him very well. And in fact, his oldest cats, oftentimes when they would have a birthday, they would have a celebration at the vet clinic for that cat.
God.
Like a birthday celebration. They had apparently several for Granpa Rexs Allen and for Creampuff.
So this vet place loved this guy.
Yeah,
and his
absolutely.
Cats.
Yeah. And they actually did an interview with the owner of that vet clinic to kind of talk about Jake, specifically about the diet of these cats. And he says, "It's not what they taught us in school, you know?" He shrugs. "The longest living of them celebrate their birthdays in Hardesty's clinic with a barrage of media attention and special tuna and broccoli birthday cakes. Framed photos of those who made it to age 34 hang on Hardesty's office wall, along with official Guinness World Record certificates." Now in his late 50s, Hardesty has been Perry's vet for the last 15 years. He's seen 40 to 50 of Perry's cats, and Hardesty believes at least 6 of them reached age 30, several more making it to age 25, which again, quite
Remarkable.
up there. The average lifespan is a max of 20, but the maximum you could ever expect would be 30. So he's regularly getting cats up to 25, 30. I mean, good gosh.
Yeah, so that tells me there's clearly something about what he's doing for his cats that's contributing to that.
Exactly. And for one thing that he does say is, for many, however, it's impossible to know their precise ages. It's not like you can cut them open and count the rings.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And he says he concedes the kidneys are one of the weaker systems in the cat. He says if you gave them a little bit of a diuretic, which caffeine is, maybe that would help that issue.
Huh.
The science behind Perry's longevity formula.
He might have been helping their kidneys somehow.
Maybe, yeah. It's shaky at best. The American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals regards caffeine as toxic to cats. Like, you should never give them caffeine.
That's what I would think.
Same with alcohol. It considers both of them.
That's what I would think.
The thing that I would say to that, though, is I know alcohol is not good for humans.
Any amount.
Any amount,
y'all,
yeah.
They've shown that in any amount, it's just not good for you. And if you want the benefits of red wine, you can get those from other things that aren't just going to be hurting you.
Oh, yeah. So, a side note, a little side journey into all this. You're absolutely right. There's no amount of alcohol that is good or safe for you. The quote-unquote benefits that were perceived from like red wine, all of those were a combination of outside factors. So when they did that study to say, is a little bit of drinking good for you? Most of the people that were put, or not most of the people, but a lot of the people that were put into the quote-unquote non-drinker category were put there because they used to drink heavily and no longer do, which skewed their mortality rates up, right?
Yep.
And then not to mention, the people that only drink mildly were much more likely to be very wealthy and can afford much better health care for any medical issues that they might have, alcohol related or not. If heavy drinking and complete abstinence of drinking are both associated with lower economic status.
I'm poor and I don't drink.
Yeah, I'm poor and I don't drink. I used to drink, but when I did drink, I drank heavily to party.
Yeah, I did too. Haven't had a drop since June 29th of 2019.
I would basically get super wasted at Ren Fair and then never drink until the next Ren Fair, pretty much.
Yeah, you have to shed your old liver and grow a new one. It's time for the new Ren Fair.
Pretty much.
That's why you don't give wine to your cat.
Yeah, exactly. Caffeine, probably not really good for you in the long run, to be honest. It make you feel better.
Listen,
it make you go.
No, in humans, it's fine. There are benefits to coffee. I'm not just saying that because I'm addicted to it. I'm not just saying that because if I don't have coffee every day by 10 a.m., I will start getting a headache and getting irrationally angry.
Yeah.
No, but there are actually some benefits to coffee and caffeine.
That's true.
It's like quite a bit. Did you know it is most people's number one source of antioxidants in their diet? Because it is rich in polyphenols.
An info dump within an info dump.
Yes, and up to 4 cups a day has shown to be protective against colon cancer. So don't take my coffee from me.
I wouldn't dare.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't.
There's 2 factors that we haven't examined about Jake Perry and the way he takes care of his cats. There is the entertainment that he provides for them. How stimulated are they? Are they just lying around all the time, or are they active doing stuff? And then also, did he get his cats fixed, or did he let them breed and make more kitties? What do you think?
With that many cats, I imagine he got them fixed.
Yes. All of Perry's cats, as soon as he got them, were fixed. There is so much infectious disease and medical issues that
Certain cancers.
Yeah, all sorts of things that cats are vulnerable to unless they have been sterilized and fixed, that it is one of the major quantifiable factors in the longevity of a cat. So if you have a cat and you haven't gotten them fixed, you really should.
Go do it. You want to have them around longer.
It will almost certainly help them live longer. It reduces their desire to roam, and it makes them less likely to be at risk for other things that cause death, just in general. It's really just makes them a lot more safe, both medically, both behaviorally, in general. But when we're talking about the entertainment for the cats, this is where we get into really, I think, the underrated part of how to help your pet live longer in general. And I think it's something that, if you think about it for more than a few minutes, really makes a lot of sense. He did a lot. He went out of his way to make sure that his cats had something fun to do every day, had stimulating experiences throughout their life. And that makes a lot of sense. He's giving them something to live for, because I know for myself, if I was bored all the damn time and I got super old and crotchety, I feel like, I'm just going to be old and bored. So I think a lot of it has to do with making sure the cats are happy enough that they thrive and they continue to move and use those body parts and all that good stuff. So
yeah, the oldest dog I've ever had the privilege of having in my family lived to 15, which is pretty dang good for a dog. He did a puzzle every morning, a kibble puzzle.
And he liked to watch TV.
He loved to watch TV. He really liked watching cows and big cats, really.
Yeah.
But it matters, and it keeps them sharp too, cognitively. And yeah, I can totally see how that would add to longevity. When you think about humans, when we stop being active and having things to do, we wither. So it makes sense that it would be the same for animals.
Yeah. And for Perry, there was a whole bunch of things that he did. At one point, he set up a large model train that went all the way around his house that was large enough to carry cats.
Don't want to diagnose anyone, but trains and cats?
I mean,
oh, come on.
Also, like, the train itself was like big enough to be able to carry the cats around, which I think is just wonderful.
I imagine it was pretty magical to see a bunch of cats just being like, I'm riding the train around the house.
Yeah, and like, imagine being a cat and you can just ride a little train around your house. Like, so good. There's even more than that, though. There was a section of his garage that he'd converted into a home movie theater with a working reel-to-reel projector and actual movie theater seats. And he screened nature documentaries exclusively for the cats with previews. And he would also he would sometimes do things like horror movie specials, because Granpa Rexs Allen was a horror movie fan. And things like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my heart. Just this little man living by himself in Austin with his little cats. And he's like, hey, y'all, let's have a movie night. My heart. I love that so much. I'm going to cry. It's the sweetest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Mm-hmm. It's just such a sweet guy.
How gentle.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, all this guy did was help people with their plumbing and help cats with their lives. Just a great guy. And so the number one thing that Jake Perry would always say, like, he would always swear is the most important thing to helping your cats live longer, was having a close personal relationship with your cats. They are your family.
Yeah.
And Perry adored his cats so much, despite owning and adopting over 500 cats just from one shelter alone, I should mention. He remembered each and every one of their birthdays consistently. In fact, Bill Clinton was invited to Granpa Rexs Allen's 34th birthday, though he declined.
Typical.
Yeah, regretfully declined.
Fucking typical Bill.
Right.
We don't want him there, shithead.
Right.
You don't deserve to be there, shithead.
Yeah. So honestly, like, all of the things that he's doing, there's a number of other things I'm sure he did that maybe he didn't even mention, but he just tried to give his cats an enriching life. He gave them full hearty meals with real food like broccoli and eggs, turkey bacon, broccoli, coffee with cream, and then a little bit of wine every now and then to circulate the arteries. I'm not sold on the wine, to be fully honest, but it clearly wasn't hurting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and I think I just love the fact that he essentially said, what do I, a human, want in my life to have a well-rounded life? And he gave that to his cats. I feel like a lot of the time there are people who don't see animals as like complete little beings with their own thoughts and feelings and needs and desire for entertainment and personalities. And like he treated them like whole complete creatures with, you know, complex psychological and like emotional needs.
yeah.
And they live long, beautiful lives because of it.
Oftentimes I'll see like Instagram videos or whatever of people that like they won't even let their dog up on the couch because they don't want dog fur on the couch.
Hey, if you're listening and you do not let your dog up on the couch, their world is so fucking small and you are their entire world. And this is a place you hang out a lot and they just want to hang out with you. Yeah. If you're worried about your couch, get a free one on Facebook Marketplace like we did and cover it in a blanket.
Yeah. And also, if you think about it for just a minute, what are you going to miss more when it's gone? That couch
the fucking
or your
couch
pet?
Exactly.
Your loved one.
No, if anyone listening follows me on Instagram, very often in my stories, I'll show that I like to do visible mending, and it's very often it's very, 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 very often on blankets, and a lot of the time it's dog related. But I don't mind. I would rather have happy dogs. Like my most recent mend was a casualty of a little staffy boy who with freshly cut fingernails doing little pity spins on the couch because he was really happy. I'm not going to be mad at him about that.
So before, I have another thing that I want to talk about, which is obviously very related, which is some of the longest lived dogs. I want to talk...
But before we get to that, did you know that there is a new medication coming out for cats to make them live a lot longer?
You mentioned that, but I wasn't able to find a whole lot of information on that. So do you know what that medication is called?
I don't know what it's called, but I had several listeners of Today's Lucky Winner send it to me because most of the articles about it were like, longevity drug, make cats live longer. And if you are a Today's Lucky Winner listener, you know that there is a fictional drug made by an evil pharmaceutical company called telomerade that was meant to make humans live to like 150. So a bunch of very kind Today's Lucky Winner listeners within the span of a week were like, telomerade for cats. They made telomerade for cats. So that's how I learned about it. It's supposed to help their kidney health is how it works.
That makes sense. It's funny you mentioned the 150 thing because Granpa Rexs Allen, if he was an actual human grandpa, he would have passed away at the age of 149.
It is telomerade for cats.
Yeah. Creampuff would have kept on going till the ripe old age of 165. I don't know Creampuff's gender. If they were a human Creampuff.
Creampuff is non-binary in my mind now. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to pop in and talk about that cat longevity drug real quick because I was just delighted to have my several DMs of, it's telomerade for cats when that came out. So maybe it'll just become the average that cats are living as long as Granpa Rexs Allen.
Well, I did do a quick Google search based off of what a couple of things you were saying, and I did find some information that I think gets me a little bit closer. Apparently there's something called an apoptosis inhibitor macrophage, and it's a protein in animal blood, and if you administer it regularly from a very young age, it can double a cat's lifespan, increasing it from 15 to 30.
So
now, I don't know how well that would work if you've got a cream puff on your hands and then you give them, if you've got a baby cream puff and you give them
69-year-old
apoptosis inhibitor macrophage.
But anyway, I had to pop in about that drug. Maybe cats on average will live to be 38.
I hope so. I think that would be lovely. And I think, when it comes to, I wish all pets lived longer.
They deserve it. They're without sin.
Absolutely. And like tortoises live a really long time, but they're kind of
They don't do in the house very well.
They don't do in the house real good. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. Perry won like $50,000 playing Grandpa's birthday numbers on a Cash 5 lottery ticket in 1998.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. Sorry. This is one thing. It's a kind of a random factoid, but in 1998, he played a Lucky Cash 5 lottery ticket, and he just put in Grandpa's birthday numbers, and he won $50,000.
Okay, so again, I'm not a person who is particularly spiritual, but he found that cat, like his friend found that cat waiting at a stoplight, and he wins $50,000 using that cat's birthday. Like,
yeah, he combined that with several smaller jackpots that he won throughout the years, and he invested all of that into a trust for the cats to either be used for their care upon Perry's passing or his care in case of a medical emergency.
Oh my God. He opened a trust for his cats.
Absolutely.
What a gentle little man.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart.
He's so sweet. One of the things he wants to do, in this interview, he mentioned that before he dies is open a pet cemetery, and he wants to be buried in that pet cemetery with his cats, which I think is lovely.
My heart.
Yeah.
You want to tell me about some old dogs?
Yes. Let me tell you about some old dogs. So I actually have a list of the 18 oldest dogs to have ever lived. Would you care to guess where most of them are from? And this is probably like a locality bias, but would you care to guess?
I don't know. Are they American or British dogs?
Most of them are American dogs. The second most common are dogs from Italy.
Italian dogs.
And now, not necessarily Italian breed, I should mention.
No. But the dogs were born in Italy. They're Italian. It's Italian dogs.
Yeah. One thing that I think is interesting.
They eat the pizza. They eat
the
the pasta.
They eat a
sketty. The sketty good for dog.
The sketty good for dog. We all know this. There's also a whole lot of variance in the actual breeds of these oldest living dogs.
I would imagine that mutts would live longer because there's not all of the breeding problems that come with trying to get a purebred.
The only breed, quote unquote, that is listed on this list, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times, is mongrel, which is the technical term for a dog that is of indeterminate breed, basically.
It's a mean name. You could call
it a mean name.
Mutt.
I wish that I feel like mutt is better. Mutt is this like an equivalent term, or mixed breed dog. Mongrel just seems so not nice.
It sounds derogatory.
It really does.
I don't like it.
I am just going to jump through the list here, starting from number 18, going all the way up to the number 1, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about that number 1 spot. So number 18 is a dog named August. August was a golden retriever born April 24th in the year 2000, the millennium. August lived to be 20 years and 341 days old. So
almost old enough
21.
To drink.
Almost 21. Would it surprise you to know that every other dog on this list is old enough to drink?
Whoa.
So August was an American golden retriever who lived to almost be old enough to drink. Jake was a rat terrier. Are you familiar with rat terriers?
Yes.
They're real fucking cute. So Jake was an American rat terrier who was born in July of 1994, and he lived to be 21 years and 6 days old.
Amazing.
Then we have Chanel, who was born...
Ooh, Chanel.
Yeah, May of 1988. She lived to be 21 years and 83 days old. She was a dachshund from the United States. There's actually a couple dachshunds on here, I should mention. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And one of the things I want to mention is if you ask someone what dog breed lives the longest, they will say Australian cattle dog, technically. There's only one of those on this list.
And our dog who lived the longest of the dogs I've had was Border Collie Australian cattle dog mix.
There was a dog named Funny who was born in 1999, May. Lived to be 21 years and 178 days old. They're also a dachshund, but they're from Japan. There was a toy fox terrier from the United States born in March of 2000, who lived to be 22 years and 189 days old, named Pebbles.
Pebbles.
There was an Italian mutt who lived to be, and this was indeterminate. It wasn't like they didn't have an exact birthday because this was like a rescue type situation. 22 to 23 years old was the confirmed like window. And this was a mutt named Birillo. Birillo, which I don't know what that means.
Hope it's not something sketchy.
I'm actually going to Google that really quick.
I don't know if that's the Italian F slur that the Pope keeps saying or something. I don't know.
I searched it on Google just by itself, and the first thing that came up was a soap dispenser. I don't think that's right. Apparently it means pin, like pins and needles, like pin. That's kind of cute. So there's a dog from the United States that is a Chihuahua, German Spitz, American Spitz mix of some kind. This dog lived to be 23 years and 5 days old, and their name was Gino Wolf.
That's amazing.
That's a good name. Gino space Wolf. It's a good name. There's an Italian mutt who lived to be 23 years and 2 months old, named Piccolo.
The Italian mutts are killing it.
Yeah, it absolutely. And honestly, that's right in line where they could have been either named after the instrument or the Dragon Ball Z character.
Yeah,
which is pretty sick, honestly.
Nice.
This one you're gonna love. Chihuahua, United States, 23 years and 112 days, born April 2001. Their name, all one word, Toby Keith. All one word. Capital T, capital K, Toby Keith.
When was this dog born?
January 9th, 2001.
So 9/11 hadn't even happened for Toby Keith to have his rise.
No.
Incredible.
And it was all one word. Yeah.
Incredible.
The next dog on this list, still alive.
Amazing.
Yeah. An Italian mutt named Lily.
Lily.
Yeah. Lily is between, this is another rescue, estimated 24 to 25 years old.
What a good girl.
Still kicking. Sweet baby, still kicking. She was born in the year 2000 is the estimate. There is a Volpino / Poodle mix from Italy. So many from Italy. Honestly.
It's the pasta.
Honestly, it's the pasta. Born in January 1999, named Cici, Cicci. Might be Cici.
I think it's Cici, the double C. I think it's a ch, if I remember correctly.
But yeah, Cici. Not still alive, unfortunately, but lived to be 23 years and 364 days old. Wow. Almost 24 years old. Like a day short. From the U.S., we have a Chihuahua mix, 25 years and 44 days, still kicking, the highest on this list and still alive. We've got Spike, born 1999. Whoa. 1999.
Amazing.
This is a dog that has seen the millennia and is still here.
That's older than some people listening.
Yeah, probably a good portion of the people listening.
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
yeah.
There's a border collie from the UK, first on the list from the United Kingdom, 25 years old, born March 1978, not still alive.
I would be
did the math.
Freaking out.
The math otherwise. Yeah. Named Bramble. Bramble. There is a mutt from Hungary who lived to be somewhere between 26 and 27 years old.
Holy shit.
And their name was Buksi, Buksi. So good. There was a Shiba Inu mix from Japan who lived to be 26 years and 8 months old, born in April 1985, named Pusuke.
This is good dogs from all around the world.
Good dogs. We're in the top 3 now. United Kingdom, Labrador Retriever, lived to be 27 years and 98 days old.
Whoa.
This dog's name is Adjutant.
Adjutant?
Adjutant. ADJUTANT.
What?
I have not a clue. I don't even know what it means. I haven't Googled it.
Let me, again, looking at these dog mate names
Yeah.
and cat names to make sure they're not something.
So I just Googled it. It's either a military officer who acts as an administrative assistant to a senior officer, or a large black and white stork with a massive bill and a bare head and neck found in India and Southeast Asia.
I imagine.
And I think we all know which one it
probably-
is.
Yeah, the bird.
Yeah. From the UK again, they're up here on the list. We've got a Welsh sheepdog who lived to be 27 years and 211 days, named Taffy.
Taffy. Now, see, that's a name you give a dog.
Yeah, that's a good dog name. They were born all the way back in 1975, so they were the record holder for a very, very long time.
Who's our number one?
Except there was someone even before then who confirmed there was a dog before them. They were born June of 1910. No one has ever lived longer than this dog, born in 1910. Obviously not still alive. That would be wild. But we're talking about an Australian cattle dog named Bluey.
That's where Bluey
From Australia.
That's where Bluey's name comes from? Probably. More than likely.
Probably.
Incredible.
I think it's highly likely.
Bluey's name. Oh my God.
Yep.
That's
Bluey
also
lived
just getting me very
29 years.
The big reveal that Bluey's namesake is the oldest living dog is actually extremely exciting to me.
Good. I'm glad. I kind of wanted to hype it up and go through the list. I feel like it was good to just really
capping off to say,
showcase.
by the way, do you enjoy some of the best children's programming ever made? This dog is the namesake.
Yeah, absolutely. Bluey lived to be 29 years and 160 days old.
Incredible.
So halfway to 30.
Incredible.
Half a year to 30. I mean, incredible. There have been a lot of other people who have claimed to have had dogs live longer than Bluey, past the 30-year mark. But there's a dog named Max, a dog named Maggie, a dog named Bella. There was another dog named Bobby. All of these have either not been independently verified or have been discredited entirely.
Their owners, not the dogs.
Yes, absolutely. The dogs, of course.
I will never
could
discredit
never.
a dog.
As of 2025, Bluey still holds the title as the world's oldest dog.
What an incredible way to cap things off. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think kitties...
I hope you enjoyed that.
I did. I think kitties and puppies should get to live forever. They are without sin,
Absolutely.
and if there was ever a Planet of the Apes situation, but with cats and dogs, I welcome it. I think they deserve it.
I completely agree.
Well, thank you so much. I think I'm going to go hug and kiss our puppies and tell them I hope they live forever.
Absolutely. I hope so too. And if you've got a pet near you right now
Go
or in your
smooch 'em
house,
for
go
me.
give them a hug and a smooch.
If they're
Give
into
them
that,
some
if they like that
stimulation.
kind of attention.
Yeah. Build them a little movie theater.
It's not that hard.
Give them an eyedropper of red wine every now and then.
Don't give them an eyedropper of red wine.
Probably talk to your vet before doing that, maybe.
Don't. Your vet will
We're not
laugh
veterinarians.
at you. Your vet will laugh at you and say,
Yeah.
no way, don't do it.
Yeah. But now the coffee. Coffee with cream.
No.
Now we're talking.
No. Hey, before I get to the housekeeping section, I wanted to thank our Patreon supporters, like Stephanie Ritter, Dave Perrell, Steve Hernacki, Megan E., Carl Brooks, Natasha Neves, Laysan, Gus, Lutzi, Helen Clifford, B. Trossler, Kelly Brennan, Sewing Seraph, Rachel Rachelson, Fintago, and Randy Lovings. Now, it's the housekeeping section, and I know most of you skip this, but if this is your first time listening, this is where I tell you that the best way that you can help us is telling other people about the show. We don't take paid advertisements, and we don't pay for advertisers, so the way we grow is you telling people about us. I know most of us are migrating off of a lot of different social media, but if you think you know people who would like the show, share it with them. Share it on your social media platform of choice, whichever extant one that may be. And that's a really good way to help us. If you are in a place where you can help us monetarily, you can check out the show details to find a link to our Patreon page where you get bonus material for this show and for any other show we make. We have different tiers with different rewards. And if you want to hang out with us, you should also check out the show details to find a link to our Discord page, where we do some really fun stuff. Like last week, we actually watched the movie that Pickles the dog from one of our mini dumps that Violet talked about, that Pickles the dog was in. We all watched that together. Spoiler, Pickles is in it for like 5 seconds. We're all pretty fucking pissed. It was a good movie, but Pickles was barely in it. If you want to see what Violet and I are doing in our free time, you can go to the show details to see our social media handles. But that is all I've got for you, my friends. Until next time, clever sign off.